What's up, guys? For all current William Hill account holders, for every mate you refer, you'll receive a $100 bonus bet. Plus, you'll have a chance to have a day hosted at our private suite at ANZ Stadium for the NRL 2017 season. Inbox me for details.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a year or so since, actually, I was looking at my Facebook. It was, those year ago things.
Yep.
I think it was about a week ago. Picture of yourself and my disgusting head came up on it. Jamie Soward, it is so good to see you again, brother. How you been?
Oh, very good. Very good, thanks, mate. Just recently retired, and a year ago we caught up, and I was still playing. So fast forward a year and retired from footy. But yeah, it's good to see you again, mate, and looking forward to the next sort of hour or so.
You know what's crazy is when the opening, probably minute or so of our last interview, I was actually watching it just recently. I said to you, how could you describe the last years? It's been such a roller coaster, and yet I would argue that this last year has been even more of a roller coaster. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the roller coaster ended and after that, everything was sweet. It's been even crazier. How has it been for you the last year?
Oh, yeah, it's I think now that it's all over. I've obviously retirement's been the sort of public side of things, but obviously getting divorced and engaged again sort of within the short amount of time, that's been the roller coaster, is dealing with all that behind the scenes stuff. So for me, it's been tough, but in the same way it's been good because I've really grown as that, and my partner, or my fiance Maddie, has seen me grow from really at my lowest to now where I am now, and so happy in what I'm doing, and I'm doing nothing. So it's good. It's good.
So I guess the retirement, we'll just get straight into it. It was only recently. You've been retired for a week now?
Yep.
Has it hit you?
Nah, I don't. I don't miss pre-season. You'd know, watching. We don't miss running the.
Pre-season, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, you're a weirdo. So look, it was just time. I think. It's tough. You want to play forever, but no one can. And I think now is time for me to enjoy the next part of my life, and that, whether it's in the media or whatever, but it's just not viable anymore mentally and physically for me to go out and put myself through that, Maddie through that. So I made the decision. I rang Sammy, my manager, and he said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Mate, I'm sure." And once I made the decision, I felt really comfortable with myself. And like I said, you want to play forever, but you can't. You've got to source other income other ways. And for me now, that's time to move on and do that.
I think what's strange as well is we don't realise when we're young, we feel invincible and everything like that, especially in our 20s. But as you get a bit older and you get closer to 32, you start realising, I've still got 50, 60, 70 years left of my life. I want to have a quality life, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're 100% right. It came, I had 3 back operations in 6 months last year in 2015.
That's your back.
That's my back.
It's not your shoulder. It's not your...
And shoulders you can rehab, backs you can rehab to a certain stage, but it was just sort of getting to that. I had one before Christmas, in 2015, before the 2016 season, and it came a lot to get back from that. And I gave everything, and I was fitter. I felt mentally fresh, but I just probably wasn't delivering well enough for my performances. So going to England, I didn't really enjoy England as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Great bunch of blokes I played with, but I probably just didn't enjoy the footy side of things because it wasn't the big show. You miss the big crowds and stuff. So it's about quality of life now, and with all the concussion stuff as well, I think, look, regardless of what anyone says, if you play a first grade game, I think you're a warrior for putting on that jumper. You're going out there, sometimes, most of the time you're injured from either the week before or you're carrying a long-term injury. And just now, even just forgetting things, I wonder what that playing footy has done to that side of life and what I've missed out on. So I'd rather retire now and have a quality of life for the next 40, 50 years than play 1, 2, 3 more years in England just for some money, and bash my body around again and not be able to pick my son up in 5 or 6 years or daughter or both, hopefully. But that's what you got to think about. And you speak from your own point of view. You're retired and now you've got this mainstream show that everyone wants to be on, where 5 years ago footy was it.
Yeah.
What do I do after footy? I don't know.
100%.
So that's what I've been thinking about, and that's why I'm so comfortable in my decision.
And for your example as well, I wake up every day and I'm not worrying about my body. Like I wake up every day and I'm like, I'm using my mind to get ahead now. I'm not using my body to get ahead. So yeah, I totally see what you're saying, and it is so important, especially in those last few years. You don't realise, because it's part of our culture. I think we're a very rough, aggressive kind of culture in Australia. Like, you get Americans over to play rugby league and they're like, you guys are crazy, but we do it week in, week out. Put it this way, most fighters in the UFC, they fight maybe once every 3 months or something like that.
Yep.
I would argue that a footy game, you have more chances of getting concussed in a footy game consistently over and over than in an MMA fight, because in an MMA fight, if you get knocked out, it's stopped, it's the end of it, done. Footy, you can get a bit of a concussion, then you take another hit up, you get another concussion. So it is. I think it's going to be a huge talking point over the next 10 or so years with the NRL, and I think that they have taken the right steps. But yeah, totally agree with you when you're talking about.
Well, they're going to run into problems eventually. There's been so many players. I mean, we played in an era where there was no concussion protocol. You got concussed if you went out. Yeah, I got called soft, and I'm like, I got knocked out at the end of 2015, sorry, and I laid in my room for 3 weeks. I couldn't have bright lights. I had headaches, and you can ask Maddie. Like, she was like, "Are you all right? Are you sure you're right to be playing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah," and everyone's like, "It's soft," and this, and I'm like, "Soft? I can't even fucking turn the light on without." Just like getting a headache. I can't leave my house without all of a sudden feeling enclosed spaces and shit like that. So it's going to come a time, and we've seen it in the NFL, and it's huge at the NFL, and they settled for 1.4 billion or something, and that's retired players. We played with no helmets. Well, I played with a helmet, but we played with no helmets. No, a bit of smelling salts and you're back on. If you're a little bit dazed, bit of smelling salts, you're back into it, and you're like, and you have a headache afterwards. Like, I remember Wayne Bennett sitting with me one time after I'd been knocked out in the Gold Coast. He was that frightened for me. He sat with me in the hotel room that night just to make sure I was okay. And I was like, and I played the rest of the game. It happened, and I just played the rest of the game, and it didn't hit me until after I'd stopped and all the adrenaline had gone down, and then all of a sudden I felt groggy, and Wayne's like, fuck, he's fucked. Like,
yeah.
He sat with me, and he's like, he made sure I was all right. I was like I think back to those times, and then I think now, and forgetting the keys or forgetting my wallet, and I'm like, what has that done to... Don't get me wrong, I've loved my whole career. I'm blessed to have played NRL, and I would never take it back. But you got to somehow think some of that trade-off for other things in life. You're a pussy. You missed a tackle. You can't tackle Tony Williams one-on-one. You got knocked out, you didn't get up. When Jack White and shoulder charged me, everyone's like, it was a good tackle, I guess, in a way, and it's probably of yesteryear, 5-6 years ago. And I love Jack. I think he's a fantastic player. He's a great bloke. I've played with him in the All-Stars. But when that happened, I was like, I've been knocked out. I spent the night in hospital. I had headaches. Again,
you spent the night in hospital that night?
In Canberra, spent the night in hospital, and everyone on social media was like, "Oh, what a tackle! What a fucking Soward the soft prick!" I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's my brain, man.
That's my fucking brain. It's a car accident. I've just been in a fucking car accident. Whereas if you drove past a car accident, you'd be like, fuck, I hope that person's alright.
Yeah.
I got people beating up on social media and, man, he shouldn't have been suspended and that. And 10 years ago, he shouldn't have been suspended. And he probably, he shouldn't have been suspended. It was just a good clean hit. But the toll it took on my body and my head was like, fuck.
Yeah. And I guess we're not educated enough. Like, the public's not educated enough yet, and I don't know who would do that. Who would educate the public to go, guys, like, these tackles, they're great and they're spectacular and everything like that, but there is a chance of really long-lasting damage to these guys, and that's, I would love to see the shoulder charge back, but at the same time, with the new information, I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think, 100%, like, I think we need to be more on the front foot with education, especially with the players.
Yeah, I think 100%, and you're right. And it's funny that the shoulder charge, concussion protocol, and no punching got all brought in at once, because I think the NRL is trying to protect themselves from that, and not get sued by those people. I mean, but over in England, we saw Sam Burgess elbow David Clement straight in the face, and the ref just said, don't do it again. Because over there, they don't have the no punch. I got 5 put on my chin in a game over there, and there's no... we both got sent off. I got sent off for getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
So it's up to... There's people that need to really sort that out. But when are we going to have a game? I think, personally, the no punch rule really changes the game and how you play it. And you'd know, like, you could run across the field, say something to someone twice your size, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But if you knew they were going to put one on your chin, you probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd take a lot of the niggle out of the game.
Yeah.
But we don't want that filtering down to younger kids. And that comes... It's not just the responsibility of the players. It's the responsibility of the NRL.
Yeah.
Soccer don't have replays. Why do we have replays at the game? The ref gets a decision wrong, we worry about the replay for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I punch you in the face, that's on every news in
social media as well now.
Social media everywhere for that 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the world's full of problems. We're not saying that, but they're just that's what you think about when you're in retirement, mate.
Yeah,
you got heaps of stuff. Yeah, it's so weird. You never think about it. Now you're like, oh shit, I wouldn't have talked like that if I could have got punched in the face.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so speaking of retirement and changing everything like that, take us all the way back to when you were younger and thinking differently. Like, were you always a gun footy player? I know we spoke about it briefly on the last podcast, but that was ages ago. So you grew up. You were born in Canberra. What was it like for you growing up and everything like that?
Yeah, it was tough. My dad was a lock, back rower, hard as, beat the shit out of everyone, tackled everything that moved. Had a son who could hardly tackle. More finesse of the game, had more feel for the game. So for me growing up, I wasn't very big at all compared to my father. I sort of took over, a lot of my mother's traits from basketball and that. So, we moved to Wagga and probably always wanted to play footy. Always want to play footy, or I want to do this, I want to do that. But there was times where you didn't know what you wanted to do. So played footy all my life. I was saying to you before we started that I played footy every year since I was 4. Every year since I was 4. So I'm 32. I was 32 on Sundays. I've played 28 years of footy.
That's crazy, man.
And it's not 12 years of professional. That's 28 years of kicking, tackling, or whatever, just that contact, constant contact. So I think when I first started and played first grade, I thought this will come so easily to me. I will just play. I'm happy I played one, but I'll play probably 20 or 30, and then that may be it. But I had lower grade success, like under 20s were undefeated, 2 reserve grade grand finals in a row. So 3 years I was on.
That longest streak too, didn't you, at the Roosters side or something?
Yeah, we won 28 in a row. So that was but 3 years I was at grand final day, I was there. Yeah. So I was like, shit, this transition should be easy.
Yeah.
And that sort of...
confidence that would kind of turn in, not arrogance, but you were sure of yourself kind of thing.
I think you have to be.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, if you want to be in this world and do something, you've got to be confident within yourself because someone's trying to bring you down. Yeah. If not, everyone's trying to bring you down, especially in Australia. So, but I think probably the turning point was 2005, May 8th, make my debut against Newcastle. We're playing Newcastle too. They've got 16, 17 players out, right? We go in. Gus is a coach all week because Sticky's on Origin. Then Sticky comes back. I'm playing halfback. I'm shit in the bed. We are supposed to win this game because Newcastle have no players.
Yep.
And we go out there. We start well. Anyway, it was the most boring game I've ever played in. We won 34-2 or something, and it was 4-2 at halftime. It was so shit. So I wake up that morning. This is stuff that I can talk about openly now, but it's taken me a while to actually just talk normally about it. But people might not know. So I go out that night and get pissed and spend it with my teammates and stuff. Wake up next morning at Bondi. Me, Trent Carruthers, and Heath Lestrange are in a car, and I find out my dad's died that morning. That, for me, was and this started the roller coaster of what. So every rugby league player, every sports person will know, but especially every rugby league player will know the roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's the win-loss. It's winning, losing. Wow, how do I get away from losing? Oh shit, I'm still losing. Oh, we're winning. Oh, who cares, man? Like, I'll go and spend $1,000. I don't care. We're winning, man. You know. So that started that like roller coaster of I've just achieved something that I've dreamt of since I was a kid. Holy shit, my dad's gone. Yeah. And then I took a week out from the game. My stepdad took me to watch reserve grade, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Fuck, I don't really want to play anymore." I drank, fucking gambled, got away from footy, did not care about footy. And then came back and played, and I sort of, at the Roosters, I was in and out. And it sort of just took someone to believe in me, and Nathan Brown gave me a call, but I just remember that as a turning point of, because Brownie said to me I was struggling, he said, you've been from there to there, and now you're back here, like, you can do it. It's a footy game. Yeah, you've got the ability to be up here if you want to be, kind of thing. That's exactly right. So, like, losing Dad was a massive thing. We were close, but we weren't, like, living together or anything like that. My mother was my rock. My stepdad Hugh, they were my parents. My dad was my dad. But it's like you think back to those times now and you're like, I worried in the last 10 years, I worried about so much shit and what people fucking thought of me and criticised me and fucking bagged me and praised me and kissed my ass and all that shit. I played and lost my dad the next morning. That is like, and you hear about now, like Des Bryant, the Cowboys, lost his dad the morning of a game, went out and played. I could not have done that at that time. But now I could do something like that. So that was the turning point for me as to, I look back and I think, fuck, I've been through so much shit. But that was like the real shit kind of thing. That's real shit. Like, that's not footy life, that's life. You've lost someone that is brought you into this world, But then I dealt with all the other shit, and I'm like, and sometimes that shit got better than that, like bigger than that. So. And you're like, so when you look back on it now, you're like, man, I didn't put things into perspective sometimes and realise I'd been through way worse, and I'm focusing on these little things when I'd lost my father the day after my debut. I still don't. I don't think you ever can get to that balance, because you can't relive that. You can relive the day, but you can't ever go back and be like, so getting those feelings and actually experience whatever you're actually experiencing in the moment, kind of thing. Man. I mean, the emotion when you talk about roller coasters, to make your debut and then lose your father. How conflicted you, and then you're happy that you made your debut, but you feel selfish that you're feeling that way, but you've just lost your father and you love him, and it's, talk about a roller coaster, man. That's the roller coaster, and you, like, for any football player that watches it, they'll understand the term roller coaster, because everyone lives it. And you're 100% right. It's so, you're winning. You're winning. Everything's great. Life is great. And everyone loves each other. We're all happy. But you start losing a few. Oh man, you're down in the dumps. Yeah, see, I didn't even know. I didn't know that it was the day after debut. Like, I know you knew you'd lost your father and everything. I didn't know it was the day after your debut, man. The emotional damage that would cause you, and if you don't deal with it properly, you can hang on to that for quite a while, kind of thing. Do you feel like it did hang on a bit? Yeah. I think in my own way, like, I sheltered a lot of things, and I arced up at a lot of things that really didn't need arcing up at. Like, I really became defensive in what was going on around me, and then, like, this past year, I've grown from that person that was... when last time we spoke, I was in a mental state where I was too scared to leave my house because what people might say to me down at the street. And I remember talking, and like, this is what I'm saying. Like, so take losing your father after your debut to this story of, I rang Maddie and I said, I'm going down to Penrith, Westfield. I need to get a shirt, some jeans, and I think I had to get, like, something else, like just typical stuff that if you were going, you'd go, sweet, I got to get that. I'll look around. I might look at 5 or 6 shops to get the right shirt, right? You wouldn't even think about it. You just do it. Yep. So I drive down there. I get out of my car and I instantly start sweating. And I text Maddie. I said, something's like, I just feel shit, Yeah. I walk around the mall. I look at like 2 shops. I end up coming out with a pair of pajamas and some sunglasses because I was that paranoid going into shops about what people, because we were losing, I wasn't playing well. But just people looking at me. I was at that stage where people not that I'm a huge, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Jared Hayne, I'm not a, but people recognise me, you know.
You're a recognisable guy and you do have a profile.
Yeah, and I shit the bed. I went and, pair of sunglasses. I didn't even need a pair of sunglasses.
So you just fully wigged out?
Fully wigged out, was paranoid that people were, not even looking at me, just maybe even heard someone say something.
Yeah, yep.
And I was like, I'm dealing with that shit. And I made such a big issue about that. But I forgot, like, I've been through that, you know? Yeah. So that's like the sort of, I guess, roller coaster of things. And now I'm like so chilled. I'm so free in whatever I'm doing. And like, we spoke for an hour before this started. And I'm like, dude, I'm so happy in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've got a girl that makes me feel so strong. And, you know, so that's the trade-off.
I guess the maturity of realising, you know, if you could take yourself back into that moment, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you worrying about what people think when you've been through way worse than this? Whereas, like, back then you weren't, we all weren't, like, I had my own stuff as well. You, when you're younger, you don't have the maturity to, like, really push through situations like that and put them in perspective. I think perspective is so important. Yeah. Perspective can change any situation, usually for the better. Usually for the better. Well, see, like, I didn't know you were dealing with all that. It's so crazy that you have mates that you don't even know are dealing with all this, like, this whole world that you just don't even know about, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, see, I've got a close group of mates. None of them play rugby league. Yep. They knew that I was dealing with stuff like that. I don't think they knew to the extent of that. They would, like, I was talking to them every day, but a few people in the media knew that I was dealing with the divorce and stuff like that, and how stressful that is. Like, I think I saw somewhere there's like a chart of the most stressful things you can do. There's the death of someone, and then there's divorce. Like, you know, separation, divorce. And like, that's only just finished. And that was like the most stressful thing ever. And I'm trying to hide that. And I spoke to a few people I know in the media and like, we knew you were dealing with it. We didn't think that you needed it to be brought up. Yeah. And I'm like, that's funny because I've seen media pick on people, you know, like I wonder what I did right. Like I wonder me maturing and accepting the media, whether that gave me some brownie points to say, well, let's just leave it alone, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. I think, like they maybe as well over the years you had built a relationship, like especially the last few years. I think especially when you went to Penrith, I think you from the outside, I don't know, but it looked like you were more like, you know what? I'm just going to accept that this is the way things are. I'm going to try and be good with the media and everything like that. And I think, you could kind of tell that the media did change in the way, whereas there was a time at the Dragons, maybe even at the start of Penrith, where it was just crazy, man. Like the angles that were constantly being used, you know. But yeah, so at least you got a positive from the media, from the media. Okay, so you made it, and then you had the roller coaster, and then you chose to go to the Dragons. So what was it like the first few? Because you did go to the Dragons and you did play good footy. Like that's when you became a first grader, pretty like a regular first grader. You were a first grader, but do you know what I mean? Like that's when you really. Jamie Soward was this young half that was a gun in the competition kind of thing. You were the Ivan Cleary, the
Nathan Cleary.
You were the Ivan Cleary.
You brought up the bloke that replaced me at the Panthers.
No, you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
Like he's good and
he's a gun. He's a gun.
It's a compliment. He's a gun.
He's
You're
a gun.
Like what was that like for you? You know, being the young gun and you finally getting that opportunity. Like what was that like for you?
Well, you have your own expectations, and then obviously the Dragons, like the big Sydney clubs. Well, everyone's a big Sydney club, but like the Dragons, you know, you go over and you meet a Dragons fan. So 07, 08, you know, I had a back injury 08, didn't play finals. Once Wayne rang me and said that he wanted me, I was like, oh shit, this is Wayne Bennett, you know. And then that sort of period between 09 and 11 was like some of the best footy I've ever played. Like 09 was the best footy I'd played.
Everything you did was it just worked.
Well, I just played carefree. I just played footy. Wayne just took everything out of my head. I ran out there, and then as you get older, you start like, oh shit. I try and get back to that feeling. You can't, you know, so. I love the Dragons, and we had a really public falling out, and for some reason it was just all over the top from both parties. Like, all I wanted to do is a lap around. I didn't give a shit if it was 20 people there. I wanted to do a lap for every person that showed up from 07, that first game at Crogger when we beat Brisbane, to my last game against the Bulldogs, even though I lost the last game. But every person that showed up and ever cheered every time we kicked a goal or made whatever. I wanted to say thank you, and I never got that chance, and that pisses me off like no end. But now I accept it, and now I've still got lifelong friends at the Dragons. And the whole organisation is something that I'm proud of to say that I was a part of. But that just like,
He used to eat at your
I wear that with like the biggest badge of honour. Like I got it there so I don't have to lift my shirt to show that we won a comp. Like that's how proud you are.
That the thought you thought in your head? You're like,
so I'm not going to wear the ring everywhere. So the V is iconic in Australia for, the Dragons. So that's... and then once I moved to Penrith, but my footy really took off once I started to become a first grader and live up to not everyone else's hype, but believe in myself and have my own hype.
Because I think you forget because you're so many years removed. But I mean, there was a stage there where you're probably one of the biggest names in the NRL, like literally top 2, top 3 kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like there was years there. It was like Jamie Soward. It was Jamie Soward's time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 09 was like we started with a Golden Point loss, and Greg, like you can Google the Greg Inglis fend off Jamie Soward. It's like I would put it in my own highlights if I knew how to use a computer.
I've got a chipped tooth from him still, bro.
He drifts across. If you Google it, he drifts across down in Melbourne. It's like opening round 09, Wayne's first game for the club. He drifts across, and I'm at 2, and Chase Stanley's sort of there, and he comes to me, and I sort of just go, well, we're like a metre from our line here, so I just sort of do like this massive bear hug.
Try to hold him up kind of thing.
And GI just puts me into row 4 Olympic Park. Now, Olympic Park has a running track around the field, so I've gone over the running track and hit the guy eating a pie in row 4. And like that was in the first 5 minutes, and Dell looked down at me and goes, there's only 75 minutes to go. I'm like...
Wendell said that
to me. He's like, no worry, bro, there's still 75 minutes to go. Like, I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? Like... Dell, seriously, piss off.
Taking the piss?
No, I think he was just like Dell's. Like I love Dell. He is the. I am honoured to say that I play with him, but he is like that guy that's like glass is always half full. Come on, bro. Like we can still get. Yeah. And we end up clawing back. We lost in Golden Point, but like I got asked about it. I'm like, well, like that was round 1. I said, well, at least I made the 09 highlights. Like I'll be leading into 2010. I'll be on the NRL ad for missing that tackle. So and that's the sign of maturity, Half 05, 06, I would have got dropped, and missed, it's whatever. But I think I had a really good year that year, and that's just like one of those in-game sort of, and you know what Dell's like, it just sort of made it like, shit, all right, sweet,
it's all good. So funny, bro. The amount of people I've had on here, the amount of people that I've had on here that have stories of Greg Inglis fending them, I swear to God, it's at least 10. Like, it's ridiculous. The amount of blokes he's like, I'm telling you, I have a chipped tooth still from when he fended my face, and as he fended me, I fell, and the back of my head hit his boot.
Oh no!
So like, it was a double whammy. He literally like fended my face, embarrassing, and as I'm falling to try and tackle him,
he is a freak. I said he's the best. I tweeted last year watching him. He's the best utility back that I've seen ever.
Yeah. I honestly think natural... like
he was playing at 5'8" then and doing that.
It's crazy. In a Melbourne Storm side.
In a Melbourne Storm side with Cam Smith, Cooper Cronk. He was playing 5'8". He's dominated the world at centre, and he's been top 3, top 4 fullback for the last whatever. So...
crazy. Naturally, natural gift wise, I can't think of a guy ever to play the game that has the natural gift that he.
Not with that size.
No.
I mean, it's out of him and Sonny Bill as to.
See, I just reckon like Greg Inglis. Like, don't get me wrong, Sonny Bill, absolute gun. But like some of the things Greg Inglis has done, we've never seen anyone do. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like
I don't think you can split them.
Really?
It's. I don't think you can split them. I mean, this might be another show, but I don't think you can split them. I think Sonny changed the game for back rowers.
Yeah, okay.
In the sense that,
but he only played one position.
I know, but he started at centre. He debuted at centre.
He had a baggy jersey.
Yeah, he scored 2 tries against Parramatta. I think he played against Willie Tonga in that game, but he changed. But yeah, Greg Inglis to me is. Yeah. You
know what I love to see GI in a boxing, like a MMA fighter, like learn how to. He would be unbelievable, I reckon.
He'd be our body shapes are too different.
No, but he would like strip down, have long arms.
He can't just strip down.
He used to be like 90 kilos. Remember him in his back in the day when he was literally like 90 kilos at North Devils?
He's only, what is he now, 30? And he's been playing for 10 years. He's played nearly 300 games. We're talking like he's 50 now.
Yeah, I know. He's so freaking stupid. Okay, so yeah, that 2009 year, as I said, like you kind of forget because you're so far removed from it, but it was Jamie Soward's time. So like, do you have any memories, I guess, with stories of Wayne doing what Wayne does? A special moment where you're like, this is why Wayne Bennett is the man.
Before the season started, I think we're one game before Canberra. We hadn't beaten Canberra for how long? Everyone talks about that, but I was really nervous, and he'd asked me. We went on the team walk, and usually, I hadn't really had too much to talk about, and he sort of said, "Oh, how's your family going?" I was like, "Shouldn't we be talking about the game?" He's like, "How's your family?" Talk about family, and then we had a training run. And he's like, "Oh, come here," and I'd train like shit. And he's like, "Tell me 5 things you're good at," and I said, I don't know. He goes, "You don't know what you're good at? Like, what are you doing here?" I'm like, so I told him like the 5 things I thought, like kicking and that. And he's like, "Right, well, when I ask you again, like he said, you just get better at those 5 things, and that'll be your part on the construction belt, sort of thing, like." Wow. And that's between 09 and 11 when Wayne was there. That's how it felt. It was. Everyone on the construction belt had a job. So and you watch, like, I used to stand like 10, 15 metres back. That was before the rule came in. And it was like a punter. I'd just hook it, kick it, and and then just support and do all that shit. And I'd defend 2 out wide, and Bo's got to do all my tackling, and everyone would make fun of that. And I'll be like, that was Bo's job, was to protect me in a way. So I just got good at that, and that's what makes Wayne Bennett. It's like he totally doesn't confuse anything. And that's why at the moment England are like, everyone in England's riding him like, "Oh, Wayne, you can't do this and you can't do that." And you're like, okay, have a look at the NRL players that are in that team. Have a look at everyone else that's in that team. They are not up to NRL standard. There's such a gap. Like, I've watched today, there's such a gap. That's why the Aussies go over there and dominate. There's such a gap. But you can't see you just can't see 17 blokes that have bought into Wayne's. No mistakes, just tackle, kick long. Simplify. And
literally, that's all you got to buy into.
You come home from a training run, you're like, all we did was like 10 sets today. And you're like, shit. All I had to do was kick the ball 10 times. That was my part on the construction belt. So that's what made it so good. Like, Ben Hornby's was, okay, I'm going to make sure everyone's doing their job. Dean Young, I'm going to make sure everyone's doing their job. Bo was to tackle. I was to kick. Brett Morris was to score tries. Darius was to throw the ball, in 2 years, Brett Morris got like 50-something tries. I was like, it's the same play every time.
It's so true.
It's out the back, long pass to Brett Morris.
You know
what's coming, but how do you stop it? Because everyone knows their part on the construction belt.
Man, that's what are 5 things you're good at? In that moment, to just say, just work on that is so, you're just like a relief, I reckon. It feels like a relief. You're like, okay, all right, that's all you want from me? And you're like, and he's like, yeah, that's all I want from you. And you're like, I can do that. Whereas, like, when it gets too complicated, I'm like, I don't know if I can do all this.
We've played under coaches. We would have both played under coaches that, so as a half, defence, obviously, Thurston, Johns are all great defensive halves, right? I'm not in their league. So, work on your defence, I'm like, I'm fucking trying. I'm getting in front of big bodies, But sometimes, and that, I reckon I neglected the sort of things I was good at. I took for granted how strong my kicking game was,
Trying to focus too much on
I'm doing, don't get me wrong, you got to have a good balance, but sometimes I'd focus too much on, I missed fucking 6 tackles on the weekend. Who cares? You fucking got 3 repeat sets. You know what I mean? That's why it's a team game. If you wanted the whole glory, I'd play tennis.
You're 100% right. Like, you focus, like, you're too worried about this defence thing when you're probably getting a win anyway. So let's just, okay, we're winning. It's all good. Yes, I have missed those tackles, but also, yes, someone has done that, and yes, someone has done that. But I've saved
someone there, you know. So
it's very true, and you do get caught up in the negative of instead of worrying about the positive.
It's the
Oh man, it's fucking do you have any strong memories from that grand final week, like on the field? Maybe did something happen before or after it, like, that you may not have been able to talk to?
Well, obviously that month leading in, we were heavy favourites. We got bounced in straight sets the year before. So, but the day of the grand final, we had like sports science, everything. You put in how you're feeling every morning. So behind the scenes, right? Every morning you rock up to training or whatever. You write how you're feeling.
Yep.
You do a piss test.
Out of 10.
Out of hydration. How'd you sleep? How you feel? All this shit. And we had it written down, and like you had to go and fill it in. We were supposed to go on the team walk, but it was raining, so we had to sit in the room. And we played Chinese whispers, like.
What?
Yeah, we played Chinese whispers.
What the hell? I've never heard of something like that.
So Wayne just said, "We're not going on the walk. We're just going to sit here and have a chat and just be together." And we ended up playing Chinese whispers. And I was like, so anyway, I go in to fill out my thing, and I'm like, "Who gives a fuck how I feel? I'm about to play in a grand final. I just wrote, I don't care how I feel today." And Wayne, like the sports scientist at the time, she was filthy. And
was that Mel?
Yeah, it was Mel. She's like, "Who wrote this? Blah blah blah." Cause and then
don't get me wrong, Mel's a great girl.
She's sports scientists. They don't get enough credit because they got to look at data. They got to try and tell coaches, no, that's
Mel
too
was
much.
actually really nice, but we just
and Wayne come down and you just saw this smirk come across his face. It was like, yeah, who cares how he feels today? If you can't get up for today, if you don't get out of bed today like buzzing, then there's something wrong with you. So, but and then obviously kicking for that first try for Gaz was. Like
Can you remember anything, like take yourself back in that moment?
We practiced, like at Redfern Oval, we turned the cameras off and we practiced that move probably a dozen times.
Oh, really? So like dead set?
Dead set. It was called a Frenchie because he'd come back from France.
Yeah.
And we'd done it like so often. And then all I remember thinking was because Brett Morris had been tackled out, flung it back in, he'd actually gone out of play.
Yeah.
But the ref the touchy couldn't see it. So Ben Cray takes one in, and all I'm thinking is, we've got him on the back footy. I can go to the line and give Gaz early ball, but all I've got in the back of my head is, when we get down there, first set, kick it for Gaz. Do that play. Because Wayne would you'd do the play, and Wayne would just smirk, and he'd be like, "That's my shit. That's my play."
Yeah.
So we go down there, I kick for Gaz, and he scores, and I just lose my shit. Forgetting shit, I got to compose myself and kick the goal. That's 6-0 is important, but after that was just the grand final. We're unlucky. Well, we didn't play good in the first half, and then at half time, the biggest scoop of all time was Wayne come in and say, "All right, that's not the Dragons out there. All we have to do is win the second half." I'm like, half smiling, like it's 8-6. We're down 8-6. I'm like, fucking scoop. Like, we've got to win the second half. We're going to be we're going to be losers if we don't win the second half. And then we came out and we played like Dragons. We played how we'd earned the right to play, and we won. I did nothing in the second half, but we won. A lot. By a lot.
Yeah, it was a comfortable win in the end.
Yeah, in the end, because everyone went back to doing their jobs.
It's so crazy. It's like, no shit, Wayne, but that is his brand. That's simple. Just literally, guys, we just got to win the second half, and we're the Dragons. That wasn't the Dragons. That's all we have to say. You'd think that someone's going to be walking. Al Pacino walks in. You think Al Pacino's walking in from any given Sunday, talking about inches.
Mate, I was waiting for a rocket, and he just came in so calm. He's like, "That's not yous out there." He goes, "I don't know who that is out there. That's not yous." I'm like, "Okay, sweet." So we got on with the job.
That's why I love this show. Like doing this show is like. You were doing Chinese whispers before the game. The St. George Dragons, 2010 premiers. Yeah. Group of men were playing Chinese whispers the morning of the game.
Yep.
That'll do me. Okay, so then the next few years, Wayne stayed 2011. I think you made the finals and you came maybe fourth, I think. And made the finals and I maybe lost consecutively or won one and then lost one against the Storm. Anyway, then he leaves to go to Newcastle. And Pricey comes in, and I guess it's well documented that just the post Wayne effect, as in, like it didn't really fit. Like everyone was sick of talking about Wayne, but he's in the back of your mind. I'm sure you would have had a doubt, like maybe the meter is right. This is post Wayne, but then it's in front of your mind, like no, all the boys are here. We're all good. Everything's sweet. We're happy. Do you know what I mean? Like was that what it was like? Or
yeah, it was. I mean, we had a squad that was still predominantly. 2010, the grand final team.
Yeah.
But I think it became more like there was at the time you couldn't feel it, but you could feel it now that you look back at it. There was a divide of Wayne used to do it this way.
Yeah.
We won a comp under that, and we've still got a large chunk of that squad. Why are we now switching it to this way where we're not winning? And that was, I guess, eventually what led to my downfall at the Dragons was I loved Wayne's way of no complications, simple footy, and then we went into like a totally different style of doing everything. And it was like,
and even if all of your conscious effort is like, okay, I'll do everything you say, I'll buy into it, let's do it. As soon as you lose, subconsciously you're like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? There's a different way. I know that different because I did it.
Yeah. I've won. I know how to win that way.
Yeah, but now
I'm all in here because I'm a team man and I really want to win. But
I know what you mean. And there's other guys thinking like that too. It's not just one person. And then you get this like, it's tough.
Because then we went to 2013 and it was like Benny Hornby, Dan Young. Yeah, we had a lot of guys, older guys retire.
Yeah, important guys.
And important guys, really good team guys, leaders, strong leadership guys. And then we still had a large chunk of the grand final. Well, we still had 8 or 9 guys out of that sort of starting 13. And then 13, I'm just like, really? Like, why? We just didn't click. Yep. And then all of a sudden, I'm on a plane to England. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'd signed for Penrith because the Dragons had moved on with Widdop, and Garrett's a fantastic player, but I think we could have played together. Like, because Feensy was retiring, they didn't have a half.
Yeah.
But once I'd signed with Penrith, I was extremely happy and looking forward to that. But I just felt I deserved to finish the year out. And
you felt, I mean.
Well, hey, we got a reunion in like 3 years. There'll be a 10-year reunion since we won the comp. I want to be at that. With no hard feelings, no nothing from anyone.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we spoke about off air, the club's bigger than the player. There's no player that's bigger than the club. So for me, I'm helpless. Like, I can get moved on, I can get shipped around, shopped around, whatever you want, by whenever you want, however you want, at any time. I got moved on. I'm still obviously angry about it, but I've moved on. I've had a successful career at Penrith. I love Penrith.
Yeah.
I will work at Penrith for the next 20 years. But, when we go on our rings, like, you wear your ring and they clink when you shake hands. That's what it's about. Like, they're the times you're there for, not how you left the club. So I want to be able to walk into that sort of state, And that's why Ben Hornby, we've reached out. We're catching up next week. I'm going to go down and watch the Dragons train and just do some research for my media stuff so that I can talk about that. But I guess that's sort of me and Benny Craig, we've always kept in contact, but they're the times where you're like, I think that's what made the difference from when Wayne left, because we played Wayne round 1 2012, we beat him, and I was like, we don't need Wayne, we're good. It's a false sense,
a false sense of confidence.
And then the next 2 years we didn't make the finals.
Yeah, it's just such a. I mean, you got 30 men, group of men, and then you got the whole club as well. It's just complicated. It's always going to happen in sport. There's so many different directions that each person is thinking and feeling, and if everyone's like, even if you can feel the club's not all buying into it and the players aren't, but it's just so complicated. People don't realise how complicated footy squads are. And there's just like so many. You're with each other so much. There's so much opportunity for conflict kind of thing. But okay, so you go to the Penrith Penny Panthers, and it seemed like you'd kind of reset a bit and be like, okay, now I'll just reset here. It's been traumatic. It's been a bit much. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. But I've got Gus Gould here. Penrith Panthers, one of the best young crop of players for the last 5-6 years, come through Penny Panthers. They're looking the on and up. What was it like when you got there, and how did it all come about and everything like that?
Gus just reached out after a game and sort of wanted to chat, and then within, I guess, a meeting, I was sold. Like, I wanted to help whatever I could to bring through the young crop. And then 2014, we had a lot of injuries, but I just came to Penrith with an open frame of mind. I come back from England, I was fat as. I did the cocaine. I got off the... Here's a good story. So I get off the plane, and a week later, like, I'm 97 kilos. Like, I'm probably another 2 kilos, 3 on what I am right now.
So, and you're 5'10", 9?
5'9" at best. Maybe even 5'8".
I'll give you confidence.
So I get off the plane, and I go out and see the people we're doing Kokoda Trek with. Because, like Gus said, you're doing it. I think it'd be good for you and Ivan, because Ivan's doing it as well.
As in, so the whole team did it?
No. So it was me. The only players that did it were myself and Tim Grant, and then Justin Pascoe, who's the CEO of the Tigers now, and Ivan Cleary, and then some other people at Penrith and some kids.
Okay.
So I get off the plane. I'm a heap. I am an absolute heap. And we walk this track, and I'm just fuck, dude.
Dying.
I am dying. We walk 120 kilometres in 6 days through Papua New Guinea with the most beautiful people in the world. And we get back to like where we're staying, and everyone like pulls out the like scales, like, I lost 7 kilos, I lost 6 kilos, like that. And I because they love their rugby league over there, so every village we went into, every time we ate, like everything extra went to us, to the players, yeah. You know, so I was rat's ass. I have like, Ivan goes, "Oh, what do you weigh at?" I'm like, I weighed down. I was like, I'm pretty sure I put on weight.
How are you putting on weight?
I don't know. No, I think I lost like 0.5 or some shit. I don't know. I knew a long pre-season was coming.
Yep.
And I was a week removed from England, so I'd only sort of just come back from
reset mode kind of thing.
And then I asked Ive about like sort of 4 months later. I'm like, "What did you first think when you signed me?" And he goes, "Oh, I thought good. He's going to help us with our kicking game and that." I said, "Oh, great." He goes, I said, "What do you think when you first met me?" He goes, "Holy shit, he is fat." He goes, "You were so fat." I was like, "What have we done?" Because I knew Ive from the Roosters, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so fat." Yeah. And I ended up getting it down, but there's just I enjoy life. Yeah, it's you just eat. I eat, you know. So, but yeah, that was funny.
Fucking hell, Code Trail. You got water. You literally just got dehydrated a bit, and that's it.
Pretty much. I was well hydrated. I think that's why my weight was up. So.
Okay, so then the next, there was periods there where you were playing really good footy for the Panthers. Like and you're in the media, like Sowy's back. He's fit. He looks healthy. He's quick. I think it was, what would it have been, 2015 maybe?
2014 was our best year, and then 2015 we started the season behind the 8 ball. We had like 16 guys get surgery or something.
Oh yeah, you had all these injuries from 2014.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Did you feel like you're back?
No, I had pretty serious ankle injury, surgery, and then got back, and I was sort of still unfit, but I knew that by round 4 or 5 I'd be fully ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go.
And then like the week leading into round 1, I just felt like this burn straight underneath my foot. And I ran off the paddock, and like Ive comes in and goes, "Come on, man, like what's going on?" I said, "I can't feel my fucking foot." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I fucking can't feel my foot. I literally, like, I'm stamping on my foot. I can't feel it." So we play round 1 against the Dogs out here, and we win. And I've played with a needle in my foot, so I can't feel my foot the whole game. And what made it worse was my left foot. So and I'm fucking goal kicking and shit. So we finish up, and then like sort of a couple of days later, my foot's still sore, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" Get an X-ray, MRI, all that shit, and it's like I've got a bit of a slip disc, and it's pushing on the nerve and stuff. And I had back problems for years, but then like the next week, I decide not to take the needle, and foot starts to burn again. And I'm like something's going on here. So then the only option was, do we wait until round 8 or 9? Can you get through that far? And I said, I don't think I can. Basically because it's my left foot. If it was my right foot, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But my left foot, I need to have feeling in all the time. So I go in for an operation after round 2. I come out, the disc slips out again. I'm in like the following week for another operation on my back. I think we played Bronx round 10. Like, so 8 weeks after 2 back ops, I'm back pretty much playing. 8 or 9 weeks after.
Way too early.
Well, I mean, we had injuries. So
I
wanted to play, and that's you want to play for the team. So we ticked every box, and then it just come the end of 2015, I was doing pre-season, and I knew the feeling straight away. It just come straight up underneath my foot, and I said to Gus, he said, "What's going on, mate?" I said, "Man, I'm losing feeling in my feet. Like it's fucking scary."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, this has to be like your last throw of the dice, like, because we'd talked the pre-season about like maybe you should hang him up." And I said, "I've got something to give." I was getting my head around things. I was slowly starting to. I met Maddie, who's my fiance now, and we got into a really strong relationship where I was eating, like I was like 89 kilos, eating great.
Yeah, so you were looking mad. Like you could tell.
I was just so happy. Like I was doing yoga. My mind was really clear and where I wanted to go. And then get this, and I was like, fuck, are you kidding me? Like, you know, and I'm not the first person to ever get injured, but like once I had that done and I came back, and the preseason was fucking hard, like underhook. So I just sort of 2015, it's just like I'd separated, you know, I separated from my partner at the time, moved out to Penrith. I had 3 surgeries, met someone who's fantastic in my life, so there's like a bright light in my life, and just, you know, I love her to death. But then I'm not playing well, and then, you know, it sort of leads into 2016 after the back surgeries, and then I come back and it's like, yeah, I remember getting dropped, and I know you'll lead into your next question, but I'll cut you off. So I get dropped after playing shithouse in Melbourne. I went my whole career, never won in Melbourne. And you're playing against Cooper Cronk. Yeah, all Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And I got on the bus, and I'm like, fuck, like, if I were the coach, I would drop me, like, you know. And Hook called me and he said, look, I'm not going to pick you this week. I said, okay, great. And I came home, and Maddie said, how do you feel? And I said, I feel fucking pretty good. Like, I can either take this 2 ways. Like, last year, when I was living by myself, I would have just played reserve grade. No one would have ever heard me again. But I'm feeling like, you know what? I didn't play well enough, so I've got to go back and improve on some stuff. I've got to go back and show that I'm not bigger than the club, and go back and play good for the other guys that work all day and play reserve grade. And we won 4 in a row.
Yep.
Then it came to a thing where I was like, I remember sitting with Gus and talking to him. I'm like, what have we got halves-wise? He's like, we've got Tamara Martin and Nathan Cleary, who are probably going to be ready 2017. I'm like, okay, sweet. So at the end of 2016, we'll sit down and discuss what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then Nath comes in and plays absolutely, like Tamara played great when he was in, then he gets injured, then Nath comes in and kills it. Now I've said to Matty, I said, these kids are too good. Like, these kids are just too fit, too smart. You know, I can help them, but I'm not going to be a distraction. I love Penrith that much. I'm not going to be a distraction and in the background and turn up the training and hold the pads and still have everyone asking me about, do you think you'll be in first grade? Do you think, you know?
Yeah.
And we've seen, like, distractions that can sort of pull a team apart. So I just said, like, I'll just go to England, you know, play over there for a couple of years. That was the plan. And then come back and work in the media. But I was really comfortable with that decision. And I found that this last year, since meeting Maddie and sorting stuff out, that I'm seeing things clearly. Yeah. A bit like yourself, like, this show's taken off so far that you see things so clearly now. You enjoy everything that you do rather than, man, I'm not in first grade, you know? Yeah. So that's why, you know, I was happy. Not happy, but I was so at ease with, you know, working with Penrith and working with Gus. And I said, look, let's work something out, you know, like, let's get me out of my contract. And I was on the highest paid. Like, next year I was on the highest paid I've ever been paid. So
we can say, as in, like, you took a 90% pay cut for that year pretty much.
Oh, without, like, going right down to it, yeah. Just for the sake of, I didn't, money's not a massive thing to me. Like,
you didn't want to be a burden to the club.
I'm not going to stunt the growth of, you know, being able to re-sign Moylan, Cartwright, Cleary, all these guys, because I want to be involved with that club for the next 20 years. And I think they see that I can bring something, but probably time for me to have a bit of time away from the club. 2017 is a gap year, and then talk to them in 2018. Whether I don't care if it's on the commercial, I'll run the water. I don't give a shit. But that I wasn't going to be that burden, because the young guys, you know, Penrith works so hard to bring these young guys in. You know, why be that guy that's like, nah, I'm hanging around. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to be a distraction to these young. It's time. It's their time, you know, and they've got a window now, and they've got a fantastic squad.
Yeah, the squad's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to have to manage expectation, but you know, they get time now. But I feel like I've been able to contribute to that, and that's why Gus and I have that relationship. We're both thinkers of, okay, what can we do for the club? Yeah.
So it was a conscious sacrifice, as in, I mean, I know you wouldn't say this because you're not looking to take credit for it, but it was a conscious sacrifice of, like, I'm willing to walk away from the biggest contract in my life for the betterment of the club, and also these young guys coming through deserve a shot, and I don't want to be a guy that is going to maybe possibly lose Cleary to another club due to the fact they can't give him the contract he needs to get, or lose one of the other absolute guns. And it was a conscious kind of thought. That was the reason why you left early from the Panthers and said, you know what, I'll go to England, kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't sell it. I wouldn't sell it like that, like you said. But that was it. That's
because like the media made it out like it was you had a negative relationship with the club.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
Nah. And all you got to do is read Gus's tweet. He's like, he's asked me if I ever want to start coaching or whatever, that Penrith will help me with that. So
yeah, okay.
For me, it was like that. Like, go to England, try and play good footy over there, which I think I did, considering the situation that I was in, and finish off my career I wanted. But I wanted to move on to the next thing. Even though it was hard to leave all that money on the table.
But
but yeah, it's just, that's life.
I mean, I guess the longer lasting impact you'll have will probably be most definitely longer than what it would have been if you had have stayed. Do you know what I mean? Like, you stay, the impact you have on the club wouldn't have been as much as the impact you've had on the club now, by the fact that they have these young guys that could go on to do something very special, and you can look back maybe in the future and be like, you know what, it was a crucial decision I made, and they've won the GF in 2019 because they've got that squad together, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and part of that kind of
look, thing. Chico was probably the same. He was a bit like myself. We were out of both in reserve grade, and we were looking at each other going, and we both had an opportunity to go, and I think that's how it is these days. If you can really move on and be comfortable with it, that's good. But yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, so looking towards the future Sowie. I mean, you're probably in the best headspace I've ever seen you as a mate. You can just feel you're very calm, and you just seem happy with everything and how everything's going. But what's the future for you? Are you past everything mentally, do you think? Like, you're dealing with the depression and everything, like the head knocks.
Yeah.
Do you think you're past all that? And what have you learnt from yourself when it comes to that? Do you think you've learned a lot about yourself?
I'm past it. This past year has been such a roller coaster mentally that, I've got a fantastic, beautiful, strong, successful businesswoman fiance in Maddie.
Yeah.
Who has shown me the littlest things in life and how good they can be. And we really enjoy, like, going for a walk with the dog, like all that kind of stuff. Like, we love being around each other, and the sort of 3 or 4 months that we were away whilst I was in England and she was over here was a shit house. Like, I hated it.
Yeah.
So I get married next year, and what the future holds, that's the best thing. I made the decision to retire. Maddie wanted to go to England, but she wanted to be with me, so she didn't care. So being here with me is like the same as being in England, you know. But we've got more family and friends. So what's next? I don't know. I get the chance now to do some cool stuff. I went and watched the Sydney Kings train yesterday.
Yep.
I did some, one-on-ones with Andrew Gaze and all, and it's just all that kind of cool stuff. And even just being able to have the time to sit like this and not worry about getting up to run in the morning or
good is it?
bash or, and like, you love it while you're in there. But now I'm like, okay, do I want to play in a local competition? I don't know. Do I want to do media? Yes.
Yeah.
So I get time now I joked and said that I was starting like a franchise in NBA and just going to sit and play that for like weeks at a time. But I'm interested in learning more about myself and what I can do to experience better things in life, rather than I've always put footy first for so long, but now I've got someone in my life that I put as equal as me, and that's why we enjoy the small things, and that's why I'm so comfortable with my decision.
Man, it's exciting times. I can't wait to see Soward with his own little show, talking about NBA, talking about something. He's sick, bro. He's so sick. Man, thank you so much for coming on the show. I before I forget, I've already asked you this, but favourite rapper of all time?
We discussed this.
We did.
We
Has
said,
it changed?
Nah, Eminem, man. Like, it's
not even close.
It's not even close. I was in England, right, and all over there, like, they love their rap. Like, I was hanging out with the boys that love their rap, right? And the beef came up between Drake and Eminem.
Don't.
No. So, like, it came up on my phone, like Bleacher Report.
It shouldn't even be discussed. That's disgusting.
Drake has something for Eminem if Eminem.
I'm
like, Bruh, like, I love Drake.
Yeah.
But I'm like, bruh, I'm looking at these boys. Man, if Drake comes anywhere near Eminem will murder him. He won't. That'll be his last song.
Yeah.
Everyone will play that Eminem song forever. And the boys can't. They can't. And then like 2 days later, Drake brings Eminem out of his Detroit concert. I'm like, thank God.
Oh my God.
Because I was ready to delete all my Drake stuff, just
100%.
going, if Eminem comes back out with a new album and he dishes Drake, I'm just putting that on repeat for the next 3 or 4 years.
Oh, bro.
But it's Eminem. He's lyrically and mentally...
It's not even close, though. It pisses me off that people like try and say that, like, lyrically and commercially, it's ridiculous. Like, commercially, he's the number one rapper of all time. He's sold the most records out of any rapper. He's actually, I think it's like most out of all pop stars, even nearly more than the Beatles or some shit like that. But even lyrically, it's ridiculous what he's done. He's
just he's so good. So to put it in perspective for young kids, he is so good. He doesn't have to rap now.
Yeah,
that's how good he is. Like, he's like, what is he, like 40?
Yeah,
but he was that good in his short time that he was on. He doesn't have to do shit now. He doesn't do no beats, no earphones, no effing, no vodka.
barely does any media.
No media.
He just does underground rap stuff.
Rap stuff, and that's like, holy shit, he's still making
pop songs that are not pop songs, but songs that are popular.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there's no challenge.
Favorite movie of all time?
Oh man, I've seen so. I love movies,
Yeah, I love
but
them too, bro.
What's yours?
My favourite movie of all
You
time?
might jog my memory.
So I got Gladiator is obviously there. You got to have Gladiator in there. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. You probably wouldn't know that one. Ex Machina is a fucking such a good movie. Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Yeah.
Fun movie. Harry Potter series is good.
Harry Potter series was good.
What, are you going to get to see Fantastic Beasts and where they come from or whatever?
Yeah. I was gonna do. I see, like, sports obviously my life. So
Remember the Titans. I think.
Remember the Titans was what I said. I think, but
you know, it's a mad one that's underrated. Any Given Sunday. Bro,
Any Given Sunday is hectic.
might be better than I remember.
Nah. Remember the Titans is mad,
bro.
man.
Might be. It's there.
Attitude reflects leadership is said so much throughout. It's like,
It's in the conversation, bro.
it's not in the conversation.
We're conversating about it right now.
It's only any inches. Like, that's it. Everyone just plays any inches when they get pumped up. But I think any movie that can take you into it, away from your whatever's going on, is a good movie.
Escapism kind of thing, get away from whatever's going on.
But the question is, Netflix, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is hands down one of the funniest things.
Really? Is that got that? It's got that.
It's the guy
the island guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got Terry Crews in it, and it's got.
Watch it then.
You need to watch
I haven't
it.
seen
You
it.
actually look like Jake Peralta. Anyone that's watching this podcast that knows Jake Peralta, Google that and then Google Den and Ken side by side. But I've watched that. It's like 3 seasons and I've watched it like 6-7 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's only been out for like a year.
Have you
or
seen
two.
Eastbound and Down?
Eastbound and Down?
Any fucking powers. If that is one of the funniest things.
I got again. It's like funny for the first sort of bit, and then like sort of lost it.
See, that's my sense of humour.
Well, it is, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think, is
Well, how funny is the first season when Will Ferrell is the car dealership
That's
guy?
hilarious when he calls him in.
And he's like got them staring at each other. He's like, I had a dream last night when I was making sweet love to my wife. And my son came in. I said, no, let him watch.
Will Ferrell doing Drunken Love. Like
I haven't seen that.
You go Google him lip syncing Drunken Love is one of the funniest 3 or 4 minutes you've ever seen.
I'll watch it. All right, bro. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it, man. And I mean, I'm sure we'll stay in contact, so I'll see you soon.
Thanks, brother.
Guys.
Cheers.
Well,
What's up, guys? For all current William Hill account holders, for every mate you refer, you'll receive a $100 bonus bet. Plus, you'll have a chance to have a day hosted at our private suite at ANZ Stadium for the NRL 2017 season. Inbox me for details.